take long, did it? So I'm going to start with, as you can see here, I've chucked in text. It's a really sexy term at the moment, but this could be infinity X, to be quite honest with you. Who in the room would like more leads? There's a lot of liars in this room. As property investors, who knows what a lead means to a property investor? And I'll give you a clue, there's only two. You only get 2 leads as a property investor. Anyone want to hazard a guess?
Qualified and unqualified?
No? No? They're people. Leads are people. What people do you need as an investor? Alright, you're all rubbish. Money and projects. And they come from people. And where are those people? They're all on social media, because that's what everyone is doing. I started taking social media seriously about 18 months ago. And now, the vast majority of the business that I do as a mortgage broker comes via leads that I get from these lovely little emblems down at the bottom. Bearing in mind, I'm a broker, so the thing that I talk about on social media is finance. So in the league table of boring, I am literally beaten by tax and insurance, and that is it. Okay, so if I can get people interested in taking me seriously on social media, then as investors and being in property, you have a much greater chance than me. So first and foremost, here we go. I'm on all these channels, and I'm on there too often, my wife says. So you can take a picture of this, go and follow me, and you can check out yourselves what I'm doing. But I am going to give you a little bit of a rundown as to how I've got to the point where I've 10x'd my lead generation using social media. So, I don't know why the white one's there. Let's start out with a little bit of audience participation. Who here's on LinkedIn? Quite a lot. Keep your hands up. Hands up, hands up, hands up. Keep your hands up if you're also on Facebook. Okay, still quite a lot of you. Instagram? Still quite a lot. Here we go, Twitter, a bit old school. A few hands went down there, everyone's getting bored of Twitter now. I love Twitter, especially when I'm talking about Saracens, which is my sort of weakness, if you like. YouTube, who's got their own YouTube channel? Yes, Brendan. Yes, Aaron. Now this is the big one. I don't expect any hands to be up after this one. TikTok, who's even heard of TikTok? We have a TikToker. There we go, excellent. Well, I'm going to come on to TikTok right at the very, very end, because it's very, very new. Cool, so, who's heard of Rob Moore? Yeah. Yes? Start now, get perfect later. A lot of people are really scared about using social media because they think they're going to be shit. You will be, but don't be scared of being shit, because every time you do it, you'll get less and less shit. And I'm going to show you my first video that I put on YouTube. Look at that. I used to have long hair, by the way, so I'm sort of like pulled back. I've only got one sort of crease in the top of my head there, because my whole head's getting pulled back. But as you can see, shirt, I don't think that's even been ironed once in its life. I've got a mirror in the background, so it's like reflecting other lights in my flat. There's shadows all over the place, lighting's awful, shiny head. I don't even, look, I'm not happy, to be honest. That's my first ever video that I put up on YouTube, which I find, this is really funny, by the way, because I fancied myself, I was going to do a task for a year where I was going to generate 100 grand, and this was going to be my journey to do that. I figured out no one gave a shit whether I was going to be generating 100 grand, because no one was watching the videos, and I very quickly changed tact. But you see, I still got 185 views, which I thought was pretty good. I think most of them were for about 7 seconds. As you can see, six thumbs down, so not particularly enjoyable. But I put myself out there, and as you can see, I think quite obviously crapping myself, but I did it, and I got over the hurdle of getting myself on social media and out to the public for the first time. By the way, I used to play rugby, so you can imagine the ridicule that I got from my rugby teammates for doing this. I've blocked them all now, so they can't do it anymore. So, this is where things changed. I realised that I had to stop thinking about the kind of stuff that I actually wanted to post myself, and I had to start thinking about what people actually wanted to hear from me, what I had to give to them, what kind of value that I could add to what they were doing, and thinking kind of about what questions they would be asking, and then answering them. So I started making videos about bridging finance. These are all my sexy thumbnails for my YouTube channel, by the way. Learned how to do that about 3 or 4 weeks ago, haven't stopped making them since. About buying for cash. This is one of my favourite ones because I've just moved to the Midlands, so I've become a Peaky Blinder overnight. And so, yeah, talking about stuff that's in the news, TikTok again, this one was actually one of my highest watched videos on YouTube, which was all about not leaving your day job too quickly when you're getting yourself into property, which is really, really important. So, what is the point of doing all this? You know, what are we trying to actually get out of spending potentially quite a lot of time with a camera in front of your face, getting funny looks from people? I did this walking down Oxford Street today, where I got a funny look off of somebody because I was walking down talking into a camera, obviously thinking, you know, they probably thought that guy's got a ridiculous ego if he thinks anyone's interested in what he's saying. So, is it to get more leads? Is it to build a personal brand? Are we just doing it to give value? Well, I would argue that it's something a little bit different from that. And it's all to do with this. Has anyone heard of Gary Vaynerchuk? Yeah. He knows a couple of bits and pieces about social media, not massive, to be honest. But this is one of the most important quotes that I could find when it comes to social media, and that's attention is the single most important asset. And that's true. Has anyone ever heard the phrase, whoever shouts loudest gets heard? Well, guess what? There's millions and millions of people on social media that are waiting for you to shout really loud so they can hear you. So this is the place to shout loudest. So, whoever gets the most attention will grow their business the quickest. I genuinely believe that this is the truth. And I am somebody who has actually done it. And bearing in mind, I'm not Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't have millions of followers. I have a few hundred here and there. I've just gone past 1,000 last month on Instagram, which I had a little celebration on my own about. But if you are getting the most attention, you are likely to get the most business because the people are going to trust you the most. They're obviously enjoying your content. They're getting to know you. They're warming to you. And when they do eventually come to you, they are saying, you're the person that I want to work with. This is what I get now. Am I the best mortgage broker in the world? Probably not, if I'm honest. Am I the most honest? Probably, if I am being honest. But people kind of seem to like me, or at least the people that come and speak to me on social media do, because they've got to know me a little bit beforehand. They've got to see what I'm all about. They see that I'm putting videos up with band t-shirts on rather than a suit and tie, which some people relate to. Some people will go, absolutely not, I'm not letting that guy handle my finance, because number one, he likes Metallica and their crap, or number two, he obviously isn't taking this seriously enough. Well, trust me, I take this very, very seriously. Just ask my wife. So what do we need to get attention? We need to be putting content out there. And I think this is the thing that scares people the most. And I think this is the excuse that people give the most. Who here thinks, I can't do all of this because I just don't have enough time? Yeah, there's a few, again, I think there's a lot of liars in here, if I'm completely honest. This is the one I hear all the time. I can't do what you do, Sam. I don't have the time. Well, I was in the office yesterday at 7 o'clock and I left at 9 o'clock last night doing my day job, doing my 9 to 5. So if I can do it, you all can too. And I'm actually going to demonstrate how you can actually make 100 pieces of content really, really easily, okay? So anyone want to take note on and do a tally of as we go along? Feel free to shout them out as we go. So, number one, we need a piece of pillar content. So we've all got our favourite channels. I think probably in terms of the demographic, don't take this the wrong way. You're probably more Facebook, LinkedIn type people in here. So a great way to start would be to do a Facebook Live video. Now the idea of going live to the world can be quite daunting. Trust me, you will not be going live to the world. You'll be lucky if you go live to one person the first time you do it. I think it took me about 3 or 4 live videos to have one single person even view my video. So if anything, I was basically just talking to a mirror for hours. So the first thing to do is to, as I said, just get your camera out, think about something that you know about, that you think other people might be interested in knowing about, and talk about it. 4, 5, 6 minutes, maybe longer if you like. I think my longest Facebook Live, actually I think I did it the other day, I did a live Q&A which was about 43 minutes. And I think it's been viewed about 750 times since last Wednesday. So longer form content does work as well. So you've got your pillar content here, doesn't take a lot of time, phone in front of you, off you pop. So what can we, oh sorry, I forgot that I'd added some little quotes in here as well. So remember, start now, get perfect later, is what Mr. Moore says. So don't worry about it being a bit crap, everyone's is. If you actually notice, and I've already kind of covered that, if you notice, I haven't even put a D on the end of scale. I did this last week. So even I'm making mistakes. So don't worry about saying something silly. If anything, I think people will probably be more endearing to you that you're actually a real person rather than a robot. So we've got our Facebook Live. Oh yeah, this is a really important thing that I learned. It's really hard once you've shared a video as a Facebook Live to then download that video. So don't forget to hit the save button once you've done it, because otherwise, like me, you'll spend hours trying to figure out how to do it. And then I realised I could just save it at the end. It took me about 6 months to learn that one. So what can we do with that? Well, we've saved it now. So obviously we turn it into a YouTube video because that is the second biggest search engine after Google. We're going to put it on LinkedIn as well, so that a different type of community can watch it. And we're also going to link it on Twitter. We can't put a 5, 6, 7 minute video on Twitter, but we can create a nice little thumbnail and then we can do a link to it. So that's another 3 bits of content. Of course, after that, you can snip your video up into smaller chunks. So I call this a Polaroid video because it kind of looks a little bit like a Polaroid camera picture. And say you find 2-minute long snippets from your video that you think are particularly good, chop them up. That goes on Instagram, on Twitter, and on LinkedIn. So that's 6 pieces plus the 4 we've done. We've managed to get 10 pieces of content already in just from one Facebook Live video. Pretty cool. But of course, by the way, I'm going to give you the weekend off here. But we can do that 5 times in a week, Monday, Tuesday, all the way through to Friday, give ourselves the weekend off. Guess what? Oh, one's missing there. We've now got 50 pieces of content for our week already. We've pretty much done nothing so far. We've chopped up a video maybe. You might have to learn a little bit of video editing at the beginning. I did. It's only really taken me 18 months to get to the point where I am now. I actually only learnt while I was doing this that I could do this. So you are learning all the time. I can just snap a picture into a camera photo. So we're now up to 50, not really taking too much time at all. Now, you can actually download an app on your phone that when you feed a video into it, it will take the audio out of it. Now, podcasts are basically the biggest thing in the world right now. So anyone has a podcast, and shameless plug, my one's coming out soon. So when it does, I'll let everyone know in the community. But you've got yourself a podcast. As soon as you get that audio out, you can download something called Anchor on your phone, and it will distribute it automatically to all of the main channels, iTunes, Spotify, etc. So that's another way of distributing the same bit of content. So let's take a bit of a count. Extra 5 podcast episodes onto what we've already got. 55 bits of content already. So we haven't really started yet. We're not doing too badly. However, when you're going to release a podcast, you want to tell everyone that you're going to release a podcast. So what do? You do a post on all of these channels to tell everyone that you're doing a podcast. Now that's not overkill it and get everyone bored of seeing the same post over and over and over again. So we're just gonna advertise one of our podcasts in the week. So 1 post on each. We're up to 59 now. So have any of you ever had that situation where you're having a conversation with somebody and you say something you think, oh my god, that was so cool what I just said. I wish someone was recording that so I can remember that I said that, so then I can sort of tell other people that I said something really, really cool. Well, guess what? You've just filmed yourself. You can listen to all the cool things that you said, and you can find the awesome thing that you said, and you can turn it into another piece of content. And sometimes I'm just rabbling on, and I say stuff, and I go, actually, yeah, that's a really good quote. And I do things like this. That's another piece of content. You can write a post on Twitter. That's another piece of content. But guess what? you take a screenshot of that and you put it onto other platforms as well. You might have seen people doing this, and you can again repurpose just a Twitter post, or you can put that on Instagram, but you can also put it on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter as well. So just based on doing an extra one of these a day, we're up to 94 already. This is all from one piece of content originally as our pillar content, okay? 94, we're not too far off. Okay, so stories. Stories are a completely different viewership than your standard stuff. So a lot of the platforms will now have a story aspect to it. Facebook do it, Instagram do it, and I think the viewership for stories on Instagram is actually higher now than the traditional posts. So every time you post on Instagram, you share it as a story, and you hashtag it, and you geo-link it, and all these kinds of things. So that is just me taking a screenshot of me sharing my own post. So far in this presentation, we have 29 Instagram posts. So now we have 29 more pieces of content that we've shared, okay? So hang on a second. We haven't just created 100 pieces of content there, we've actually smashed it, 123. That's from one piece of content. And you can do this every single day. It really does, once you get the hang of it, it really doesn't take any time at all. And do you know what? There's so many other things that you can actually do as well that we haven't even had time to mention. So actually all of your Instagram stories you can share really easily, because Instagram is owned by Facebook, as Facebook stories as well. There's another 29 straight away. For those of you that don't like taking photos of yourselves, you can actually write things down, traditional write things down. So even if you had another couple of those a week, that's another 4. And then when you go to events like this, you take selfies with people, you film the speakers, hint hint. You can take other videos of being at that event, and you can obviously post that on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. There's another 20 right there. So again, there we go, we're up to 176 now, so he's absolutely smashed the 100. So I think a big round of applause for smashing our target. Now, I haven't even mentioned TikTok, and I'm not going to, because Joanna's going to kill me. But one thing I will mention, this might become the next MySpace, or it might become the next Instagram. At the moment, it's the hottest new platform. I know that because I'm on it. I've got barely any followers, but I love it. But I've released possibly the most boring video that I've ever released on there, which was me filming myself, being annoyed that it's taken me so long to empty my inbox in my emails, and within 12 hours, 1,490 people had watched it. The organic reach is insane. So if something that boring can reach that many people, I would genuinely check this out as a platform going forward. So as I said, please go and follow me. See what I'm doing. If you think it works, try it for yourself. See how many new leads you can get. It's not an overnight thing, but with a bit of time, you will actually start generating a ton more leads. And if anyone wants to talk to me about this afterwards, I'll be up in the bar. So feel free. This is my favourite subject to talk about. Thanks very much.